outset, I congratulate all of you who have been successful in one of the most grueling examinations, which not only requires a lot of perseverance, it requires a lot of effort, a lot of concentration, a lot of clarity in your mind, and a single point devotion to be successful. And you all know the greatest example of Arjuna, that if you are focused, your success is in the beginning. And the first thumb rule, or what the third component of the civil service selection process is the discussion about your personality, which you tend to call loosely as an interview. So you are, I suppose, all of you are focusing on to face that discussion. So let me first clear this point out. Number one, commission is completely unbiased. It is known to everybody. Their focus is to select the most suitable candidate. I would say the definition of best at times get merged into I got the highest marks, personality I got less marks. They are looking in you somebody who is most competent to be a civil servant. So idea is not that they are looking most scholarly person or they are looking the top achiever in sports. They are looking your all-round personality. Two components of that you already demonstrated, that you are a scholarly person and you have already qualified the written examination challenge which has been posed to you. First one was a prelim exam, which allows you to be filtered out of a very large group into a small group. And the second examination, which is the main exam, is much more varied. It is much more distributed to judge your developmental concerns as well as your own personality impact on the examination. If you look at the main examination once again, because that will help you a lot. What have you done so far? You have done language course, qualified that, you qualified your mother Indian language. So that's one thing which you have done, is a qualifier. Whatever qualifying marks, you all qualified that and therefore you are there. So on terms that you qualified in language, clearly speak that you understand the language and you can read and write. The only difference is all, can you present yourself well with that kind of language? But then it is also capped by a paper you write as an essay. I think each of you must have written 2 essays. Now, having written 2 essays, an essay is roughly about 10 to 15 pages, you have already gone through a drill where you can explain for and against and your own view on a given chosen topic. Alright? You kindly recall that training which you got. You did the essay. Essay earlier used to be 1, it has become 2 after when I was chairman. So you are able to cover 2 distinct areas in a solid sense. So in you already have a possibility of analyzing the issue, its pros and cons, and you are also able to give your own view. Am I right? What you think in an interview would happen? Only this will happen. That you are asked a particular point to be discussed and you are required to respond. Please mind the word I am not using. You have been asked a question, you are answering. I am not saying that. You have been given a scenario, you have given a topic, and you are responding to the topic, your views. Essay has enabled you. So if you are prepared for essay, so now you can convert an essay of 10 pages into each topic about, so if I was to summarize this 10 page essay into 1 page, and later one page into half a page. Can you make sense? If the same essay which you wrote, all of you, of your individual essays, if you want to write a précis, can you write a précis in one page? How many are competent? All of you should do. And out of that, if you are supposed to convey this one page précis into 2 minutes or 1 minute, how would you do that? That means you will convert précis into bullets, key issues, starting from the best point which you think is there till you go to the last. So that is all the interviews are about. Is there anything different than that you expect? So given you go to interview board, somebody asks you an issue, you are giving pros and cons in your own view. Important is how good, how bad, how thoughtful is your own view. In question answer, somebody asks you a question, you answer, and that's the end of it. Discussion carries forward. So maybe somebody is starting with a topic. You have answered, you have discussed, you have given your response. You might follow by another view on it, or maybe a little more depth on it. So similar issue may continue to be discussed, not through one point of interaction, but can continue, say 3 minutes, 4 minutes, or 5 minutes. That means you should have fair depth in any issue which you yourself can discuss. So prepare yourself in such a manner that you are not only doing a rapid fire, it's not a rapid fire. I hope it's clear to you that this discussion is not a rapid fire. It will not happen. It happens, it can happen sometimes, and I will give you kind of situations. But it is not expected to be rapid fire. Just be prepared for a discussion. And you can only discuss a point if you have a depth. So it's not preparing like where does Taj Mahal exist? And that's it. Okay? So let me off your mind. Prepare yourself something good for half an hour discussion. At least 4 or 5 variety of areas. You already know, and if you know, you have filled up that, you have the notification by UPSC in Gazette, and you must have seen what is expected of you in the discussion. Have you read that paragraph? Yes. Anybody remembers that? You have a copy here? Anybody have a copy? If you carry that paragraph, it itself answers everything. But unfortunately, you get so scared. So the next point is, to be successful, the most key is how confident are you. I know all of you are scared because you think this is the end of life. You have done very hard work. There is no doubt you have worked very, very hard. Prepare more than 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And come to a stage where you think it is in your hands. But there is still a chance, you know. 1 and out of 2.5 will get away. So you started, look at your confidence level. You started from 6 lakhs to something about 15,000. 15,000 to something about 2,500. That means there is something in you which allows you to face such challenges where elimination occurs. So elimination now almost over. Now the selection starts. This process only choosing out of you because you are almost similar kind. If you look at the written marks, there may be a difference of 150 marks over. Difference would evolve now. And this difference is controlled by only those who are number one very confident. For them, this is not the end of life. Go with this feeling that you want to do your best. You have prepared considerably. Because I am generally against a view that you have to specially prepare for interview. I mean, if you ask me, I have never done in my life separately prepared for any interview. Yes, if I have to go and discuss some issue, I'll go prepared. A lot of preparation is done to prepare for. But in this discussion of civil service, you don't know from where will it start. Nobody can say, she has come, she has asked some questions, she has come again, entirely different questions can be there. So it is not, one can't say that there is a direction, there is a pattern which will be followed. Candidate tells me, sometimes they will ask very simple questions, they never expected. Sometimes they will ask issues which are very difficult for them, not for them. So it is a black box to an extent that anything can be discussed. So there is nothing out of syllabus. When you do exam, when you get less marks, the question was out of syllabus, teacher has not said. This is not an issue. Okay? So be prepared for surprises. Don't think everything will happen in a straight line. No. If it happens, it happens. But you should be prepared for the worst. Now, worst can at times make you scared. You always think you have prepared a lot of things and suddenly you find, you recall, I don't know this. So you tend to get scared. Maybe this question will be asked. But please believe that there are at least 4 or 5 areas to be discussed. Even if you lose in one, greatly you can still do much better in other areas. That means in your personality, it is not one element, it is a multi-element. So anybody who thinks he is preparing for a common feeling is that current issues. What is current issue? In lives of nations, what is currentness? 100 years is a current. There are nations. If you talk about a big nation like us, the time it takes. The government says 76 years of independence, we have not done anything. Isn't it? So even 76 years are not sufficient. In methods of governance, therefore, in the issues, there is nothing like current. Sir said, Mr. Dharpatre talked about demonetization. Demonetization is, per se, is a word of English used to do certain objectives. What are those objectives? Why do you do this? It is not like that I don't like my notes and I don't like the picture of King George on it or Mahatma Gandhi and I change my notes. It is not done ever. So there are certain objectives for which there are various approaches. And if you understand why these things are done and for what objectives, for you to answer that would be much easier. I hope you are sure that I don't change my notes. Yes, I do bring a new note if I want to respect another leader of nation or a great figure of nation. Many times in the notes, like in postal tickets, because somebody can ask you this question, that on the notes we have only Gandhiji, but on postal tickets we have including Mashil Karni. What is so different about it? Is there a difference? Why do we bring out postal tickets in different? Why there is no Vivekananda on notes? One can get stuck on such kind of issues. So there has to be a mechanism to understand what is so different. So let's understand that nothing happens just for sake of it. So I will not say demonetization per se is a greater element. The objective was that they wanted, the assessment was that there is a corruption in this country. And since we deal in such a manner that people can acquire and collect large amount of tenders of financial communication. In notes are nothing but tenders of financial communication. And people tend to keep themselves. without properly declaring. That's the whole issue. There can be another method. They can ask you a question. Tell me, will there be a method by which we will reduce corruption other than demonetization? Because that was the first issue. The Prime Minister said in his first national address that there is a lot of black money lying in this country. Is this he went to this route. And he also said that there is a fake currency. And both are results of to deliver. And when there is a fake currency in a given country, it can be misused for variety of things. Is there any other method? Because your view would be not to say whether demonetization was successful or wrong. Your view is that the objectives were these two. If I remember, the Prime Minister. So for you to be mentally clear that for what objective this was done, and if you know what is the other method by which it can be done, or if this method was done by others, what were the results? Who is the beneficiary? When the good results would appear. But that's how, if the point are discussed, it can go into variety of depth. Am I right? It can be as sundry as asking you if there is a note, this is a picture, why on the dark tickets there are many pictures. It can happen. It was true during the earlier times when kings used to be there. A symbol of king's power was to be the currency, because currency was supposed to be most dear, through which you would transact your livelihood. But is it true for democratic nations? So countries decide their own symbols of communication. For example, in America, George Washington is supposed to be the person who created that nation of today. And therefore, most of the dollar notes carry his picture. Similarly, Gandhiji is thought to be one who could conceive this nation and call it freedom. And therefore, we chose him to father the nation and decided to keep it. But then there are other methods like through stamps, dark tickets, that you respect achievers of this country in all walks of life. Gandhiji was not a communist, he was not a banker. Right? So, it is one way of deciding your respect for somebody who built your nation. And it can happen. So, my point with this example is that please read it as much as you can. There is nothing that you answer one question, then the second component, and after third you are out. It cannot happen. You should think through, as I said, you are writing an essay. That's why I took an example of an essay. You are writing an essay. And there you know the pros, cons, and your own view. Your own view is important. So each of the issues you should have wrote. Nobody else can prepare it for you. My view cannot become your view. If I give a view, you try to follow it, but you will record some time in the questioning, because it's not your view. Your view is your articulation, your own articulation, based on your own background, the way you are read. So this feeling that interview is correct is incorrect. There could be incidences which is happening today have a larger impact on society, because you are going to be selected for next 30 years. Maybe today's one issue have an impact in next 10 years, next 15 years, and for that you should be ready. So when you look at saying, I prepared everything on the current, I read this magazine, I read this, do whatever you want. But if somebody asks you, yes, ISRO has sent so many missiles, so many satellites together. Okay, fine, it's a good technical achievement. They will not ask you how it is done. Okay. But what is that, the learning you get out of it? For what the satellites are done? Which country satellites they were? For what purpose they are? What does the satellite do? How to get information through satellite? So merely by knowing that ISRO has sent a satellite and we congratulated our nation and made a world record will not help you. Will it help you as a policy maker tomorrow? Tomorrow you would say as a policy maker, this time you send 36, tomorrow you send 120. These are only numbers. What is that capability would mean to me for a nation, for good for nation? So depth, understanding, converting your understanding your view, I thought is the best way. Any doubts on that? Any clarification? Have you followed what I said? I therefore started the example of essay. That would mean, if you think 5-6 areas have been discussed, obviously chance everybody wants to prepare as much as he can or she can. In some of them you would have fantastic views because you can't prepare everything. But luckily the main examination is such that you really require nothing to be prepared. You got first general studies paper. What does it consist of? It generally consists of culture of this country. It perceived through society, perceived through geography, perceived through history. And you are qualified at a time. Can you prepare more than that? You tell me what would you prepare more than that, what you prepared for that exam? Can you read more than that? Only thing is that if you have not owned that, one is that you done exam, went in, now is the time to present your views. So could you convert that learning into views now? If, for example, somebody asks you, what is the method of education in ancient India? Will you be able to discuss? Let's say I paraphrase saying that we tend to think that education in the country is very poor. What do you think of these can be examples before us where the quality education exists? Because you all say ancient India was the golden time. They don't let you forget that you are golden period. But therefore all golden must apply now. Is that true? That may not be true. Each stage in this country, there were different models of education. For example, if you talk ancient India, pre-Ashokan period, there was a different method of education. If you talk a Buddhistic period which ran over 1,000 years, starting with Ashoka to almost period of Harsha, a different set of education. Then we had different kind of rulers across the country, they have their own methods. Then we have 500 years of Mughal rule, 400 years of Mughal rule. They brought another method of education. Came British, they brought another education model. And we continue with that. So are you aware of these models? We will discuss education. So question is that how much you have learned in that paper. Okay? You come to Maharashtra, somebody will say, you also got a mini Taj Mahal in Aurangabad. Will you think that is a copied model? Or was it think by the architect? What is the gap between the two periods? Because let you appreciate that the board knows who you are. They broadly know whatever facts you have given, they know it for sure. And if you happen to Maharashtra, somebody asks you, to my view is a very simple question, to ask you that you also got so-called a mini Taj Mahal in your state, could you tell us the periods in which they were made? Both were made for the same purpose. Isn't it? Are they made for the same purpose? Taj Mahal was built by Shah Jahan for and What is there in Taj Mahal? And what is there in Aurangabad? Again a tomb. So you should be clear. I mean, these are the kind of issues, they are very small, simple issues. Because you come from an area. If you come from Pune, they might ask something else. And currently on here is Peshwa Bajirao is running on TV. There was a film and there is a controversy on another thing. These are so-called current, but out of the current would evolve a discussion. Could you compare between Maratha rule and a Peshwa rule? Peshwa rule is not a Maratha rule. If you tend to make that mistake, please don't. Peshwa is not Marathas to that extent. Shivaji was a different clan and Peshwa was a different clan. Do you differentiate their methods? This is all ancient, this is all historical perspective. But historical perspective can be discussed. Because you come from city of Pune, if somebody starts talking about it has been seat of Peshwa power, what is the seat of power during Shivaji? Tell me. And then you start discussing between kings and Shivaji as a king and Peshwas as a leader. So a leadership discussion can take place. Then they can ask you, how do you compare it with Shivaji fought with whom? Most of his battles. With whom he fought most of his battles? The Mughal Empire. Who was the king at that time? Aurangzeb. So, if you ask you what is the difference in the two leadership, do you have any learning from it? Now, this could be the scale. You don't predict, can you predict this question? But you can. Nobody stops this question to be asked. So, I am bringing to your point that please don't be in a situation where you are not ready for a great surprise. Now the best situation is that you are prepared for things, you are comfortable. Everybody will be comfortable with some things you are not comfortable. Now obviously it is good to be honest. There is no need to slime, there is no need to cheat. There is, like you are answering first element and you have tried to be fooled. Please don't do that. Because the next question, the third question, the fourth question will set to a point where it will prove you that you are lying. So first thumb rule is don't ever lie. What you are, say facts in correctness, truth. Anything which you are going to lie will completely go waste. Whatever you might say after that, it will not matter. They will not push you out. But if you are dishonest, proven in the first 2 3 questions, you are out. Marks नहीं मिलेंगे आपको. Because for a bureaucrat, honesty is the highest virtue which we are expecting. But it's not difficult to find it out. I can also tell you that. You as young people think that you can get away by lying. It's not possible to get away by lying. What can be a quick example? You have filled up a hobby form. Most of the time people ask what hobby we should fill. The hobby is yours, not anybody else. If it is not your hobby, don't say that I have a hobby. Half of you don't understand what hobby is and what interest is. What is a hobby, by the way? Because you have all written hobby. Example, somebody written hobby. Anybody who has written hobby. Be free, yeah. Say that what have you written? Acting. Okay. Any questions on him now? Anybody want to ask him a question? Starting interview. His hobby is acting. Can anybody ask a question to him? Now before I ask him a question, you go ahead.
What skills are required for acting?
Acting requires the ability to acquire the character of someone whom I am acting.
Okay. Now let me paraphrase this question. Therefore, first of all, let it be clear that you are today giving interview, but think that you are on the other side. Can you think that what kind of questions can be asked by a program? How many of you think that if you are taking an interview, what kind of questions would you ask? So what is the best rule of it? That every day you ask questions to yourself. Nothing can be a better preparation. Ask question yourself, answer yourself, satisfy yourself, and I can also tell you, each of you know within yourself that you are right or wrong. You have studied so much by now that there is nothing left to be done extra except that if he is given acting is, so let him say what kind of questions can be asked. Now you respond.
So,
What do you expect the kind of questions possible?
what is the role of?
No, let me start by a very simple thing. Saying that, when did you last write?
2 years back in a straight play.
In a,
Street play.
in a street play. Okay. Now, the questions can follow like anything. They'll stop at acting. Let's for example start. What are the various kinds of plays possible? You said street play. Tell us.
So, musical plays, theatrical plays.
Musical play can be on the street. Most of the street plays are musical, by the way. What is a street play?
Street play is a play which is done on the streets where the audience are present from all around.
Yes. And what is the methodology used? Dance, music, poetry, less dialogues, and
More of presentation, minds and
हिंदी में इसको कहते हैं जन जागरण के लिए किया गया प्ले है. तो वो स्ट्रीट पे होगा, म्यूजिक पे होगा, पोइट्री होगी, गुड ड्रेसेस, एंड व्हाट अदर प्लेस? स्टेज. So what is the difference? I have now forgotten acting out. So you done acting. You said your answer was that I done a street play. I have forgotten acting. I want to play. Tell me who is the recently best play in Pune? Which in why? Pune is known for lot of stage plays are done. Pune is a city where lot of plays are done. So give us 2 or 3 plays. And why do you think they are good?
So,
I am only giving an example. Acting is out. Sure. So this question can go on there, and then it can come. How do you differentiate between a film and an acting in a play? So that is how you can debate. If it was to be in acting, they would ask you what is your virtue in acting. Is it which kind of emotion you like in acting more?
courage.
Okay. Why? In which character you try to? All Indian film heroes have courage because they can beat 100 people up. Courage can also be of a play on Shivaji. It's a different level of courage. So which courage? Or like Rajnikant, Amitabh Bachchan. Have you ever displayed emotional love? And the question will follow, what are the various emotions? Acting is a part of emotion. So which are the emotions you can portray?
There are basically 9 emotions.
So the point is that you have done one hobby point. Please start your discussion. If they want, they can go anywhere. And that's how they go anywhere. Have I asked you any wrong question? Have I tried to trouble you in this? I have not. It will be as simple as comfortable condition. Nobody is against you there. Nobody is hounding at you. You need not worry. You said something, I have asked something which relate to this. So therefore, when you touch a point, you should be clear that many dimensions are possible. I've shown you one example already. I've shown you demonetization example, where there's an issue, there was an objective is to be achieved, there was one method to be used, but there can be many methods which can be used. But are you aware? Simply by criticism of party or for party doesn't help you at all. Because you are not doing politics there. Tomorrow, 30 years down the line, if you ask this question 5 years down the line, has corruption over in this country? Because remember, a lot of issues were related. It was said, no. The objective was to make country digitized. But then we could have said, digitization is my first thumb rule for corruption removal. Possible? So there are methods. Or I can change my mechanism of justice in such a manner, the moment somebody is picked up, punishment is done quickly and correctly. In a matter, somebody caught with 100 crores and punishment is not meted out. In 20 years' time, nothing will happen. We have a very strange situation coming very recently. Babri Masjid case was closed. And again the court has come back and said the case must be opened against Advani ji once again. 20 years down the line. So it confuses everybody. Same facts, same things, same judges, everybody same. And after 20 years they have now come to the conclusion that the agency which interrogated made a mistake. The truth is it must be relevant to the case. What will you do? So maybe one example of stopping corruption or kind of situations, meting out justice quickly and correctly, fast, unbiased. So you should know methods, you should study. So please don't remain a dream that it is correct. There is nothing correct. Current has an issue and this issue has an impact. Anybody has another issue which is currently on? I gave you 2 examples. I gave you ISRO example. Yeah.
Farmers suicide members.
No, this issue in country is now for 20 years. You will remember the UPA government has waived off 62,000 crores of loans. Again, after what? Just not even 8 years. When was that done? Second time of the UPA government, not the first one. That means within 8 years again the same situation. Now you have to answer yourself. We have seen that you can do the loan waivers. We again gone to the same position. Again we are asking loan waivers. So loan waivers has not enabled anybody. So you understand why the farmers do suicide. And for Maharashtra people, it is more critical because most of suicide occur in Maharashtra. Which are the areas where it occurs? You never sit down because you will continue to sit there. Yeah.
Vidarbha and Marathwada region.
What are the reasons in your opinion?
Dependence on agriculture, solely dependence on agriculture, and recurrent droughts, market variation in market prices, agriculture goods.
Have agriculture goods come down suddenly in last 15 years? Wherever there are support prices available, they have not come down, they have always gone down. There's something else. Yes, I agree. This country, a lot of agriculture is done. We all know the productivity of agriculture. So agriculture productivity is poor. Individual farmer will not do that. It also involved in the inputs into agriculture. Cost of inputs have increased manifold. And then availability of water, availability of good quality nutrient to soil. And therefore you remember, a government is coming with what is called as soil card. What do you call it? Soil card. So even if you put down all these schemes, it's still suicide. I was the other day in Agrawal, in Jalgaon. This question came, somebody said, Sir, ye kaise pata? How do you know that the loan was taken only for agriculture? Nobody has looked at the social and historical background of each of them who committed suicide. I am not saying this will be correct, because the difficulty today in this country is that You can't say truth so easily. You have not studied the individual character who committed suicide. Has any scholar, agricultural scientist, agricultural scholar, social scholar has done any work except criticizing governments left and right to and fro? Have you read enough material that drought is not the only time the country has drought? Where is the last drought happened? We had also seen famine. After famine, what was done? But nobody does this. He was indicating an extent that some of the cases happen where they take loans, when they spend out of pocket for activities which are not good for them. Drinking. In fact, it was very strange. I saw a lot of wine shops across on the road in that area. I've traveled roughly 400 kilometers on the road in the last 3 days in Maharashtra. Very strange. You enter into the city, first come to the wine shops. So one should have these dimensions: social dimensions, developmental issues, issues related to inputs, issues related to marketing. Now let's say if marketing is an issue. What is that? Maharashtra also known for corporates or so-called you have agriculture cooperatives, you have agriculture kshetrakari things. What is their objective? Objective is that you single entity as a farmer have lesser capability, and therefore when you join together, you become a little bigger entity and you can get many things done easily. That's why it was created. So in a state where cooperatives were successful, why the cooperatives not help the societies? Have you looked at it? If this was a question coming to you. Why should the farmers sow those areas, those fields, which are independent completely? So therefore, a crop pattern would have to emerge. After there are technologies currently available, and you also know that in agriculture there is a extension activity of all agriculture scientists. You are aware of that? You are aware that in agriculture department has farmer extension centers in almost each sub-taluka. A cluster of village, bigger village. Therefore, technologies are available. Maybe the government is not able to transfer quickly the technology to farmer to fight out the non-availability of water. That we are not able to convince the farmer, don't sow those things which very heavily water dependent. So some of you only produce those elements and get enough money, and with that money you can buy other things which are required. For example, wheat is not grown everywhere in the world. Wherever it is grown, it is then bought everywhere. So maybe we are able to convince socialists what social scientists should have done, agricultural science should have done, number of things. So these are the issues to be discussed. Have I given you 6-7 angles? But you never looked the social angle of it. You only read what newspaper report. Newspaper reporter's interest is that he get the headline. I am not saying all, but 90% today get the headline, and that's all. After he wrote 5 farmers dead, 2 days debate will on the TV. After that debate is out, and things are forgotten. Other day rape case would start, or a minor dog is bitten somebody will start. So society today is not discussing issues, in addressing issues, because they don't want to go in depth. Say for example, tomorrow, I am only gesturing, I am only conjecturing. You come to a conclusion that half of the suicides occur because the lifestyle these people lived was not commensurate what they should have. If you come to this conclusion, what will happen? Something else will happen. Solution will be something else. I give you a social problem and an example. A very, very famous woman from Maharashtra was the chairman of UGC. Who was the Vice Chancellor, Sarojini? What is that university in Bombay? SND. She had done some studies and identified that in village in Haryana, 70% agriculture work done by women. Male only does the heavy work and that's it. And still the most suppressed woman is the woman. They all think that she is in a household. She is there on the field when sowing takes place. She is cutting the crop. She is in the harvesting time. And she is again looking after the water. But if you say so, Panchayat will follow you. But all scholars can do that. If we were good at science and we are free to speak, we would say these things. So our conclusions are drawn based on what media is telling you. And they will give you a very standard reasons of why women empowerment. Now what can be biggest women empowerment in Haryana, where women do 70% of work, which is the livelihood of people. Mere job is not the livelihood. Apart from the home work, she finishes cooking by 10 o'clock, goes along with him to the farming, come back at 4 o'clock and does it. But nobody has calculated and transformed this into the financial gain by her labor. No scientific research has been done. I'll give another example. If you look at today, it's a very strange question. My lady friends, girls friends who are here, please don't mind my saying this. But it's an example, very potential example. You look at media. And these are the issues when media discuss. Same question is on media. What do you see the impact of media on society? And you are a district collector. What would you do to ensure that media becomes a tool for giving good direction to society? If that is an issue in discussion, if this was an essay. It's a very potential essay, isn't it? Today, how many channels are there? News 24/7, at least by 50 news channels, only news. What do you think? How would you address? And I now connect this to issues of people. I am asking you now a question. Please tell us what is the impact of women portrayal in media and women empowerment. Yesterday we were conducted in interior village with young boys, asking them what kind of girl they would like to be. This freedom was not given to girls, I'm sorry to say, but this freedom was given to them. And they all said what they see in the TV. ऐश्वर्या दिखना चाहिए या किसी को भी सीरियल पसंद है उसकी रोटी दिखनी चाहिए. Media is little detached from portrayal of real things. And the net result is that the girls, poor little girls, who may be much brighter, but not as good looking as, it's very difficult to get her marriage. I'm not saying this is the only worst example, but this is an example. They will not discuss. They have never discussed that a girl who is well educated, equally educated as a boy is, they have not touched the issue of dowry in cases where the girl is equally important. What is the regard for girl? If she is working in Pune, in a good job, selling government ticket, she marries to a boy because family arranged, to a boy who is also similar job, the boy will say, the family boy will expect, she will leave the job and go. How many cases the reverse happens? In Western countries, both are working in their own places, they come and meet on weekend. The life goes on. In giving society, so when discuss societal issues in interviews, please very clear that we live in this country. I cannot bring in US model. Can I bring? How many of you who are young boys and girls married tomorrow would live a life where you only meet on a weekend? Are you willing? Even if you are willing, your parents will not let you, particularly the boys' parents. Because our expectations are different. But it can happen. It can happen. It's happening, I am telling you. I will give you an example. That's why you should never look at a single dimension. For example, today those who are in IT companies, is any friend of yours in IT company? Any friend of yours? And he marries a young woman who is also in IT company. Companies are very interesting. They will send husband 6 months out on a project. When husband come back, they will send woman out for 6 months. It is so common today. Have you seen this picture ever? Everybody is happy. He is happy, he is gone abroad. She is happy, she is gone abroad. Because both are career oriented. But it has social impacts. They have not lived together 1 year. So you should understand social issues before committing. Don't draw wrong conclusion ever. Important is depth thinking. And I said, start asking questions every day. When I do 50 days must have come by now?
17,
17.
24, 27.
Anybody before that? All of you are around that time. In April only? Yeah, you still have 15 days. All of you. The best thing to do is ask as many questions as you can to yourself. In one given day, my general expectation is you will ask 100 questions per day. अब मैं 2 मिनट का आपको रेसिस देता हूँ. Just 2 minutes everybody. Each of you prepare 3 questions in mind. Okay? I'm giving you now 3-4 minutes break. If you want, you can write down. Then I'll ask you to. You are appearing for an interview. You are expecting these 3 questions. Please do that. 3 minutes. तीन मिनट का बता दीजिएगा जैसे 3 मिनट का बता दीजिए How many of you think internally you are satisfied that you could ask you 3 questions? Honestly, it's the honest judgment you know. Because that's the thumb rule. There is nothing to be done in interview. That's only thumb rule. Honestly, raise hand. Somebody who is satisfied asking 3 questions. That question then will repeat. You think? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Please read your 3 questions.
Why you selected a UPSC only? Why don't you learn politics? Second.
I can assure you nobody will ask about politics. So this question you will expect a lot. It's completely no to discuss politics. Political science, yes. The question could have been, what are other career options for you? And when the question is what are career options to you, which you should all ask these questions after you decide to choose one career. So this must be a common thing to know. What are your career options and why you are here? Isn't it? Outer number career options. What then? They also got your qualifications. What is your qualification?
Pursuing BBA.
Pursuing BBA. Okay. So your career options has to be looked in. And one who can decide the career option, his first battle is won. Okay. What is the next question?
So, as my degree subject is management, and I'm taking option as history. Why history?
Okay. What is the answer?
So, history is certain.
How history is certain? History is not a law of the past. History is not law of thermodynamics. Currently, we are discussing Nehru, and the different views emerging. So, history is not certain. It's a record of events which occurred. From a point of view, the writer has looked at. कोई उसके pictorial view तो है नहीं. There are certain facts, yes, but history is a record of situations occurred as life went by, as somebody looked at it. तभी तो झगड़ा इतना है इस देश में. People say people who are communists look at history from different point of view. There are some historians look at from different. There is so much more potential answer. This will not help you. Go ahead, next. 3 questions. Third one. So, sit down. Now, let's say what is the impact of it. You are not sure what you are going to discuss. Why have you not prepared yourself that what is likely that can be discussed? You prepare everything on earth. First you put yourself here and then think what can be asked of you. It is my personal discussion, my personality, this is the information before them, and this is the product. You have not done that. You are going to mocks, you are going to that, you are going to this, but you are not prepared yourself. आपको कुछ नहीं पढ़ा, you are not to study anymore. You have studied 4 general studies subject papers. You have studied already a subject. You have already done a degree in a given area. You have also done a degree, mind you. If somebody was answering me saying I am studying engineering and doing history and history interests me, I will not agree with it. Whatever you might say, you cannot convince me. If I was a serious student, मैंने history पढ़ा नहीं कभी. How can I get the vocabulary and depth of the history in 1 year without a teacher? That's why you all are in the sitting elsewhere. If you are taking subject on management, probably you had the books, you had the material, and you had 3 years of learning already. Nobody on earth can justify me that he has taken and tell me that I like. If you like geography, do MA in geography. So don't confuse everybody because you are confused. The fact is that somebody told you these are the areas you get maximum marks with minimum factor. Am I right, sir? So everybody sitting here, 6 people on the board, 5 people on the board know this. क्या करेंगे आप? How much can you justify? Best course is the truth if it is truth. That you were advised by people that these are marks in there. And luckily you also qualified, so what's wrong? How can you say that you like suddenly history? आपको तो पता ही नहीं है ना हिस्ट्री क्या है. When you did in school last history paper? In school? In this 10th standard was this separate subject in history? I don't remember any course where history is a subject separately. It's a part of social science. And how is depth can be in the school? How much vocabulary you would remember now? You cannot, because that's where the problem is. That's where. Okay. Similar question. You have 3 questions. Were you happy with the kind of 3 questions he asked? So, develop asking intelligent questions. You are sitting here in my place asking this question. Only you can ask good questions when you are doing things. It is wrong that somebody asks a question he doesn't know himself. Sometimes people jokingly say, बोर्ड में बैठे वाले को तो पता ही नहीं था. ये कभी नहीं होता है. Don't get into your heads that somebody who is there is befooling you, he doesn't know. He or she, they are all quite aware. They know where they want to look at. They are not always looking facts, they are looking the way you think. But right? We are trying to see whether you can, you got a lot of information. For example, you got the internet, you put in something in Google, suddenly 100 pages come. If somebody has to get out the best point out of it, you have to read 100 points. Will you read 100 pages? That's the same thing. Read more to get that crux, crucial point. And that you did because you did the mains exam already. But difficulty comes that while you are preparing, you close your eyes and ears of assimilating all that into your personality. वो आपने एग्जाम के लिए तैयार किया और एग्जाम खत्म हुआ और अब आप इंटरव्यू के लिए दोबारा पढ़ रहे हैं, ये तो नहीं होगा ना. और तो कुछ can there be a different thing asked? The best thing which I thought can be asked is that if you are graduated in something, you should know about that. You can't say कि मुझे तो आता नहीं सर, भूल गया मैं 4 साल से मुझे पढ़ा नहीं. Can you say that? The stage here in this world is that you have done a PhD, you have done a graduation from Pune University, and wrongly somebody asked who was the vice chancellor then, you are not interested. Is it a good system to say, sir, I don't know who was the vice chancellor then? While you know who is the president of America, how does it matter to you? Hey Baba, you got a degree, his signatures are there on your degree for your life. How many of you know the vice chancellor when you graduated? How many? I thought this is the biggest crime. On your degree, something is written. He is sciences. He is a person of eminence. He is a known person. And that is your tendency to selectively pick and choose, in your opinion, what is good. And bureaucrat is not that. Bureaucrat selects something which is good for all. You select something which is good for you. Give an example, simple like that. Typically, if I ask you, what are the courses within the last semester of your graduation? How many will remember? Why all you should not remember? Tell me why. After you are graduate, without that graduation, you could have prepared in this exam. Could you? That means you didn't go to university at all. You didn't go to college. एग्जाम में पेपर उस दिन दिया, नोट्स आ गए होंगे कहीं से, नोट्स रटे बैठ के, ऐसे हुआ होगा ना? How can I forget that which courses I studied? Can I forget? I can never forget. Do you ever forget incidents of childhood? Crucial incidences. Have you forgotten the name of your school? How can you forget? This clearly indicates that you are not a serious person. You don't respect what is important for you. You live in present. So presently for you, focus is only UPSC. What will happen tomorrow? You are not qualified. What will you do? What will you do? How many? What are the plans? Typically.
I am doctor, I will start practice.
Okay, so practice. So you'll go back to your work. So can you forget your work? Have you forgotten? So in India, if somebody asks you, since you say you're a doctor, they know, and somebody asks you what treatment, what is wrong? Is something wrong about it? But we are not willing to answer. What will you do after?
So I don't my job, previous job.
You have what?
I was working earlier.
Because of what? What degree did you have?
I have MTech degree.
MTech in?
Design.
So you will again go back to the same.
Yes.
And if I ask you what is the last course is done, you will not tell me. It's happened only because two things. One, that you are worried. That's, they may ask you the questions on that. That's your first worry. So you are cheating straight away. It is impossible to somebody to believe that you don't remember what you studied. You are not trying to answer because you think the moment you open up 5 subjects, there is a possibility you might ask all questions in them, in which you are not prepared. But that's a fact. Why should you not do that? It is always expected that this is an interview discussion in general they were not going to great depth of a situation. He is a doctor, they might ask him, please tell us what are the disease pattern in Pune. In community education, this is taught. And community education is also a part of the internship. Without that, they cannot start their graduation. So, even this question can be asked, even you are not a doctor. Because there are Government of India schemes, Government of Maharashtra schemes, which address certain issues. Now, they are very simple things. Even if you look at each ministry website in the central, look at the schemes in the objectives. Are they not sufficient enough to educate you where your career would lie in future? Health schemes? How many health schemes do you know? If somebody asks me, please give 2 health schemes of Government of India. Facts, this is a fact. So we are asking factual position. And then will come for discussion. Apart from those who are not doctor, can anybody give me 2 key schemes of Government of India health? Say it. Janani? Suraksha. Okay. What else?
National Health Mission.
She has to answer 2 first. Each one has to answer 2. See, that's what happens. You go in the back, you don't recall. You rely on recall. You don't rely on living with it. You can only live with it when you do what I'm saying. If you are asking this question, if you have to discuss health, for example, you decide to go health, education, economics, 5-6 years. There's no dearth of issues. You obviously have to look at government schemes, both state and center. You have to look at what are the results, what are the implementing difficulties. Theory to nahi hoga na. There is no theoretical discussion. Commonly, each one want to become IAS. Am I right? If they say, if you are not IAS, what will happen to you? Will you join government job? Because each one you said in interview that you got a variety of job. आपको income tax मिल गया. Many of you have income tax choice. So अब तो variety नहीं है. Variety assessment हो सकता है. छोटा शॉपर होगा, बड़ा होगा, और थोड़े से लॉ है. बट ऐसे भी नहीं होगा ना कि एक कलेक्टर हो गए, कलेक्टर ने पूरा जिला, आप जानते हैं जिले में 20, 30, 35, 50 डिपार्टमेंट होते हैं. सो ये कोऑर्डिनेट एवरीबॉडी. सो ग्रेट लर्निंग. पुलिस वाले के पास इतनी लर्निंग नहीं होती है कंपेरेटिवली. He is in SP, law and order is rule. So you look at those aspects which are new changes have come there also. I am not saying. So somebody will say, why would you still join? You have come from leaving a job, and you said you have come because there is a variety. And if you don't get a job which is offers you variety, say department post, will you join?
I think in post also there is variety because there is different.
Since you are given interview, you are coming here, your total focus to join a government job. It is by chance that you are given this order that you got to become IAS. You are willing to do anything but to get a government job. That's all your personality. Am I right? Even he as a doctor does not want to practice, want to do a job. Out of the 15 jobs available out of this. How can you justify? The only answer is that I want to do a government job. And the best government jobs are through civil services. But आप बहुत सारी कहानी करते हो, बहुत सारी स्टोरी सुनाते हो. क्यों सुनाते हो भाई? आपके सामने है ना, मैंने आपसे पूछा. कोई ऐसा है जो कह नहीं था मैं नहीं जाऊँगा. Somebody who is doing otherwise well in his career. And there is no crime to get a government job. The other question would be, why only administrative job? As a doctor you can get to. Central government, there are a lot of posts lying vacant. For engineer, a lot of posts are lying vacant into engineering services. 1,000 per year. यहाँ तो IAS हम 150-200 बना रहे हैं. 200 के लिए 10 लाख लोग लगे हुए हैं, IAS के लिए लगे हैं, बताता हूँ। वो तो भाई चांस है कि कुछ नहीं है, तो ये तो है ही है। आप कोई भी पुलिस के इंटरव्यू के लिए तैयारी नहीं कर रहा है? किसी को भी नहीं पता कि इनकम टैक्स से क्या लॉस होती है। आपको सबको ये मालूम होगा डिमोनेटाइजेशन से क्या होगा या ट्रंप ने क्या कह दिया, बट आपको नहीं पता होगा कि इनकम टैक्स की क्या लॉस है। सो ऑल यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग टू बिकम एन IAS, बट देन यू आर आल्सो विलिंग टू जॉइन एनीथिंग व्हिच कम थ्रू दिस इंटरव्यू। बड़ी डायकोटमी है, पर्सनालिटी का गैप है बहुत बड़ा। इट्स अ बिग पर्सनालिटी गैप, and that's why you answer very differently. If this question was asked, the total effect is that you want to join a government job, and government job at the center, and what it provides, they also know and you also know. They know for sure. Because somebody had told me, if you read every day in the newspaper, not a single good word is written about a bureaucrat. आपने कोई पढ़ा अच्छा शब्द लिखा हुआ है पिछले 5 साल में? उसका तो नेता से एक्सेस है, करप्शन में पकड़ा गया, मंत्री ने आया, अभी योगी जी चीफ मिनिस्टर बने, उनके किसी मंत्री ने सेक्रेटरी को डांट दिया कि भाई यहाँ आजम खान की पोस्ट तस्वीर क्यों लगी? अरे सेक्रेटरी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का रोल नहीं है कि आजम खान की तस्वीर उतारें। Look at so menial. So they all know why are you coming. Can you hoodwink anybody? So is it not clear why are you coming? That's the question. And it only happens when there is a gap between your personality and your behavior. You can now answer easily why you told you to come. Am I right? Because there are all kinds of questions. Somebody said, I remember somebody said, I want to serve country. Very nice. You serve country. So does a Sipai. After all, those who have been killed in Kashmir, they are serving. And we all know what is currently Shahid. आपके मरने के बाद तो शहीद भी नहीं कराते, मैं बता देता हूँ. At least they agree that the military and the paramilitary people killed in serving nation will be called Shri. So how do you serve? You serve yourself. You want a good job for you. IAS बनेंगे तो आपकी सोसाइटी में इज्जत बढ़ेगी, आपकी अपॉर्चुनिटीज बढ़ेंगी. आपको लगता है ना? इसलिए आ रहा है या और कोई तरीका है? आपने किसी कलेक्टर को काम करते देखा है? बताइए किसी ने? कोई आपका दोस्त है? You have seen? Yeah. Where? Yeah. What does it do?
So basically, he acts as a coordinator between government of Maharashtra or government of India.
What will be his typical day? Please, what will be his typical day?
So typical day, he starts from reading the newspapers. What is the law and order situation about this district?
Why should he read?
So that is.
If it is the responsibility of people in police, they should feed him every day.
So it is. But then a collector is an aware person. He has to ensure peace because peace only.
No, I am saying that why there is not divided responsibility. That collector is briefed every day in the morning if there is incidents. If I was a collector, I will do that.
Yes, he is briefed.
I read newspaper for my interest.
Yes.
Because what the press writes, can I believe it all the time? Will I cross check with the police?
Yes, it is practice, standard practice rather, that the police has got his briefs the collector. Also, collector has got his own persons who brief him about what is happening ever. And what he needs to is that what are his areas of interest? What is he planning over a long period of time in that district?
Can he plan different areas of interest as a coordinator? Can he change? You for example, is a collector who is interested in education. What changes can he do?
So, the changes being that how are the government schools being run? How many?
But that is his responsibility. There is a school adhikari who should brief him every day.
Yes.
What is being running? In running, it's only a fault. The scheme is written properly.
Only the point.
So he gives the money, that's all.
So he, as a district head, he sees how this.
He is not district head. He is a district coordinator. He is DC.
Yes, DC. So what he sees is what is the fault, currently fault, and what should be done, and at what level.
He advises.
He he advises.
Yeah,
And
but
he's-
but
gets
the
it.
Shiksha Adhikari will listen only to inspector of schools or the secretary of education.
The pattern in Maharashtra is that he guides everything in the district.
Is it good for any system to survive? He has no experience of education. There are a lot of people in the whole education department. Yes, I can see that he can find out and advise once in a while and discuss it.
So there are responsible people in the chain itself. But then as a district coordinator,
All right, you as a Tehsildar
sir,
has done something for which you should be punished. Does he punish quickly?
quickly, not without investigation, sir.
And that will take how much time?
So at least he gives a 24-hour notice, show cause notice, to explain ourselves. And then if he thinks it's with the rules, then he punishes.
What is that which you think should be corrected in governance? Now you are a government Tehsildar. In Tehsildar is a much more maligned person in this. सबसे बेईमान समझा जाता है.
No, sir.
And
And
it's a fact आप पढ़ लो कहीं भी जाके मैं कह नहीं. Unfortunately ये बात है. आपको शायद नहीं मालूम तो बता देता हूँ. Whenever issues emerge, not a senior officer ever punished. And everybody's the maximum happens the transfer. Police sipai is finished. SP is never charged. I can tell you that. So don't argue on that. I have all the records. with me.
I accept that.
Like if I have to get my land to be recorded, it is Tehsildar's people down the line. कलेक्टर तक वो हथौड़ा बोल रही है. मैं शिकायत करूँगा तो वो इंक्वायरी करेंगे. So the feeling which has gone, and that's why dichotomy is coming. That they ask you a question, what is career option? You are in administration, you can say this is usual coroner. He's a doctor. For him, is it a usual coroner to go to administration? What is that he's done in administration? But then he trying to give theses, which may not be correct, and that's where the problem is. What is missing in the governance in this nation is that people who have come to governance were actually not meant for governance at all. उनका पहला उद्देश्य नहीं था. पहला उद्देश्य अपना एक करियर बनाना है, उसको एश्योर करना है, फिर मुझे एक दूसरा करियर सरकारी नौकरी का लेना है, बिकॉज सरकारी नौकरी की अलग अलग पावर्स होती हैं, उसके बेनिफिट्स होते हैं, रिस्क नहीं है. पहली बात, सरकार आपको सब कुछ देती है, आप क्रिटिसाइज कर सकते हो. आप बताओ आपके पास क्या तरीका है? आप तो तहसीलदार कह सकती हैं कि आप मुझे एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपीरियंस है, देखो दिस माय नॉर्मल करोगे दैट आई वांट टू गेट द टॉप पोस्ट.
Sir, power है लेकिन उससे पहले responsibility है.
कहाँ है?
If you do your job properly, then only your.
नहीं, आपके जॉब के कोई डूज एंड डोंट लिखे हैं? आपको कोई पर साल एक चार्ट दिया जाता है कि आप ये करेंगे?
We are given targets.
I have talked to your chief secretary here,
Yes, sir.
and when we are trying to impress from UPSC side that I want to look at the report vis-a-vis of collectors, vis-a-vis the task given. Answer was, we cannot assign them task.
That's we are assigned. I mean, we are given definite target of achieving.
And interviewing one Tehsildar into Maharashtra Public Service, who grew to become assistant collector. He was a Tehsildar somewhere. To come into IS from your service, some are chosen directly. 30% quota.
Through promotion.
Through promotion, not it's through interview, the promotion interview. There's some posts are through interview, so we are asking such a person. Everybody is saying he's in the best. Luckily, I remembered some incidences during his time. And I asked him, did this happen? He said yes. Who was met punishment? Not he, the last person. So I am quite aware. And that's why these people don't get convinced. What you are giving to impression here that everything is right. If everything was right, governance would have been the best in this country. I have seen the days of a collector where he was posted in city called Gwalior, where Prime Minister had come from. CM would come, two central ministers would come. Poor chap was always in the airport. He was in the airport all the time. Something had happened in the city, he is transferred. So what are we going to do? Is an issue. So please be truthful. There is nothing wrong to get a government job. There is nothing wrong to say that this is one of the best perceived jobs which apart a lot of duties. That's all you can say. Beyond that, what can you say? Because tomorrow, if from this she goes to defense accounts, she will do something different completely. She must know technology. Defense account is looking the technology coming today in technology acquired. So suddenly a person who has not done technology at all is now made the. So what will you do? You can't acquire technology so easily. कितनी ट्रेनिंग आप करा लीजिए, आपको नहीं समझ में आएगा जब तक आप 20-30 साल की सर्विस में। So that's a gap. So one of the difficulty for all of you is that you come for interview for IAS, but all of you get different jobs. So be ready in your mind. And there were various options must be clear. So few things that I said: don't lie, don't to be what you are not. आप टाई लगा के गए, गर्मी हो रही है, टाई से पसीना आ रहा है, टाई टेढ़ी थी, जरूरत क्या लगाने की? There is no need to copy Bajpayee ji speaking or Modi ji speaking. You should speak the way you speak. कुछ लोग बहुत जोर से बोलते हैं तो वो बहुत धीरे नहीं बोल सकते. जो बहुत धीरे बोलते हैं, बहुत भी कोशिश करेंगे तो इतना जरूर करेंगे जो सामने बैठे हैं वो आपकी आवाज़ सुन लेंगे. आप देखिए कैसे सिली आइडियाज होते हैं. सर हम कैसे बात करें? अरे बात तो there are some people sitting before you or senior to you. You have to be respectful. You have to be talking to them as if you know what they are discussing. इसके क्या मॉडल्स हो सकते हैं मुझे बताइए? कोई और मॉडल हो सकता है? आप कोई अपने अफसर से तो बात नहीं कर रहे हैं ना? He is not your officer. वो आपकी सीआर नहीं लिख रहा होगा बैठ के, या आपको जॉब भी नहीं दे रहा है, ये मैं गारंटी कर रहा हूँ. He is not giving you a job. उसके हाथ में नहीं है. वो आपका भला नहीं कर सकता, वो आपका बिगाड़ भी नहीं सकता. तो आपके पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है. बी व्हाट यू आर. आप मुस्कुराते नहीं तो आप मुस्कुरा नहीं सकते कितनी भी खुश कर ले. यू हैव ए सेशन ऑन बॉडी लैंग्वेज एंड यू मे बी टोल्ड कीप काम. अरे आपको आदत ही नहीं है. आप कभी मुस्कुराते नहीं हैं, सीरियस रहते हैं. सीरियस है, ठीक है भाई, क्या करें? Nobody cuts jokes there. I can assure you that. Nobody also shouts at you. Nobody. They're calm, quiet, polite. Can ask simple questions, can ask difficult questions. It is for you to be get flustered. It is for you to get under pressure. And you are under pressure already. So second exercise, one exercise that you prepare questions yourself is the first task. 50, 100 questions per day. In variety of subjects, answer yourself to your satisfaction. जब खुद जवाब देंगे ना अपने सवाल का तो आपको हंसी आएगी कि मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ. करके देखिए. करना चाहेंगे 1 मिनट के लिए? करेंगे एक्सरसाइज? चलिए करिए. एक सवाल पूछिए, आंसर करिए और फिर बताइए कि आप कितने सेटिस्फाइड. बस नहीं करिए, 2 मिनट में कर लीजिए. एक कोई सवाल सोचिए जो आपको लगता है कि पूछा जाएगा. आंसर क्वेश्चन फैक्चुअल मत पूछिए कि ताजमहल कहाँ है. इशू पे बिकॉज उसमें तो आपको बोलना नहीं है ना. उसको देखिए एक सेकंड थोड़ा जिसमें 2 लाइन निकली पड़े. ठीक है. चलिए आपने पूछा. Did you ask a question yourself? Did you ask a question yourself?
Yes, sir.
Tell me the question.
I asked myself, what is my, why I am a memory collector?
Why
It's
you
not-
are?
Why I am a memory collector?
Why he is opting for civil services?
Why did you opt for?
Civil services.
No, no. my hobby is memory collector. So I ask myself that why I am a memory collector like you.
His hobby is memory collector.
memory collector.
Memory.
Memory collector.
Memory.
हाँ, जो इंसिडेंट्स होते हैं पास में अपने साथ तो क्यों मैं ध्यान में रखता हूँ.
Okay. So, firstly, you should be clear in forming the question. It cannot be hazy. So, you said as a hobby, if I was looking at a biodata as a hobby, I'll ask you, why, what is, how did you answer that?
वो मुझे हैप्पीनेस देता है जब मैं
अब वहाँ देखिए आपने हिंदी ऑप्ट नहीं किया होगा. What did you opt? Did you opt हिंदी या मराठी as a medium?
हिंदी चाहूँगा क्योंकि मैं
नहीं चाहूँगा नहीं, आप ऑप्ट कर चुके हैं ऑलरेडी. You have already decided that.
Medium.
The medium of interview you have decided.
Medium.
You have done English?
I would prefer.
No prefer. I
Fill in
said
the gap.
there is a, you are the one who was not qualified yet.
No.
No, okay. Let me tell you that you have already decided which language you want to take. You have to decide. Now, if you decide, say for example, decide in Hindi. Now, give me an answer in Hindi.
जब मैं पीछे मेरी लाइफ में देखता हूँ तो मुझे कुछ हैप्पीनेस और जो भी मेरे अचीवमेंट है मैं उसके बारे में सोचता हूँ तो वो मुझे मोटिवेट करती है कुछ आगे और बेहतर करने के लिए.
Is it a good answer? A good language? It's not Hindi, it's colloquial language. हिंदी में मेमोरी के लिए वर्ड यूज करना पड़ेगा आपको. और जो आपकी आर्ट है मेमोराइजिंग, व्हाट इज दैट नेम? करेक्ट नेम इस व्हाट यू कॉल दिस टेक्निक? साइकोलॉजिकल इशू है ना, तो इट्स अ सब्जेक्ट ऑफ साइकोलॉजी. स्मरण शक्ति इम्प्रूवमेंट के लिए करते हैं या रिकॉलिंग इंसिडेंसेस टू लर्न फ्रॉम देम. दे कैन बी डिफरेंट ऑब्जेक्टिव्स. One that I recall, I try to go back and recall to learn for future. One. Other, that I look at only those incidences where I get motivation. So this is an important component of psychology. आपने कभी कोई psychology किताब पढ़ी है? Problem showcase. So what are the techniques of doing that? They are very standard techniques. What are the techniques?
Right now I do.
You have not known, that's the point. You will lie, you can say, the answer can be, sir, I have not done. There is nothing wrong. आपने हॉबी लिखी है. हॉबी का मतलब होता है जो कुछ करते हैं आप इंटरेस्ट के लिए करते हैं और जितनी चीज़ें सब कुछ आपको आनी चाहिए उसके बारे में. You should know everything about it. It's a very potential area of psychology. आपने देखा होगा, there are psychologists who utilize this technique to cure people for some very serious diseases. आपने कई बार देखा होगा, there was one presentation on television where people were sent to their past lives through memory recall. And there is a great psychologist, I'm forgetting his name, from US, who has written a book and given whom he has treated and how. There is a whole technique that you don't know. That's the point. So hobby means, so now you prepare for hobby, you should go all that depth. And the moment you go depth, first you remember, second you don't, so a language would change. Your method of answering would change. Your confidence will come down. Three things will happen. First you will answer which you have prepared. Second, you go in depth. If you remember, you know it, you will answer as confidently. If you are taken aback, you will flounder. And you will reach a point where you are confused. And the best course therefore is, your language must be a balanced language which you can sustain. Answer 1, you are given a language in the best language possible. Answer 2, your language completely changes. That generally is not done. This clearly speaks that first question you have marked up, second you are not prepared. In discussion there is no law. Law, your definitions will be. If the definition is asked, then it's okay. So that's a mistake which people make. So any other serious questions somebody asks on a point of discussion? Ma'am, did you do because you are in administration?
Sir, one thing should we have all elections at the same time? That is
All right.
one election.
No answer.
Sir, for this senator, prepared both the ways. Why yes and why no?
आप पूरा आंसर कर दीजिए ना, 2 मिनट में ये लोग सुन लेंगे, ये भी सुनेंगे ना। आपको आंसर करना है एज इफ आई एम आस्किंग यू द क्वेश्चन दिस, दैट इफ द कंट्री डिसाइड टुमारो
That we have
all elections be together, all would mean all 3 systems,
all three systems of elections.
Panchayati Raj as well as state and the center.
And
Yeah.
it would be better that all the elections should be held together, because frequent elections lead to slack periods of development due to moral code of conduct, and then new body which is governed coming into power. It takes time to understand the policies, what were the past policies, and what we need to do, as well as the governance machinery which goes into election mode. That is a bit of exhaustion. And yes, also because frequent elections cost the exchequer a lot. But then no, because waiting, dissolving bodies just for the sake of election and just for saving money of exchequer is not what we design in a democracy.
Why so far it has not been decided?
It is not.
This issue has been discussed up to a number of times.
Yes.
Why?
It was not designed to, democracy gives a body of elected persons who are voted by the people for a particular policy or for a particular manifesto. That if we discontinue that body, let's say a body in
I am not discontinuing. I have decided all of them together. That's all. I am not. One time this will happen. This will only happen one time. Rest of the time is okay.
All the bodies are there, but then one of the bodies is not performing at par. The people want to change it, then it will have to wait for that next 5-year period.
It is also to take correct. I can't change the parliament. Can I?
We cannot change the parliament, yes, but that is a part because which is a country level. It takes a lot.
I can't even recall. Can I recall my corporate?
No, we cannot recall.
Then?
But then people can protest. And government can bring up like say no tax change or we don't want it. And there are possibilities like we can. It is being debated by whether
Not
we
still
can
thought.
recall.
That's where the problem lies. It is still thought that pros and cons. It will happen one time, yes. But what else?
So this
The country still does not decide that when there is a common election for all posts.
yes.
This issue, what you are saying that I can't dissolve, it will not happen. Because each of the setup, whether parliament or assembly or panchayat, has its tenure written.
Yes, and
In a democracy, it can only happen when the whole governance, like in parliament, there is no party who can form a government. If that happens, the whole parliament is to a conclusion, then only then it can happen.
then only the yes.
So, but as per se, it has to fix time. So, what other is the issue? Why then it has not been done?
I'm not sure.
All right, I ask you a simple question. What are the possible election reforms? Because that's a follow-up question, simple question, which has been discussed.
Yes, possible election reforms likely mean that we can have a choice of candidates. We can reject them. We have got no doubt for that. It's a button on EVM. We don't know that. We can have certain bare minimum educational qualifications which we can have while selecting the candidates, or those candidates can come.
You see, again, the issue is that when you look at these serious issues, which is the most potent answer must be first.
Criminals should be
None of these 2 or 3 which you said are the first top priority answer.
criminals should be prevented from entering.
अब आपको रिकॉल हो रहा है ना धीरे धीरे, because you are not mentally ready with it. So serious issue require a serious understanding, and that's the point I am trying to bring to all of you. It's a good thing currently everybody is saying, Prime Minister is saying that election be together. But has he articulated himself?
Not yet.
Has anybody articulated this issue? Or is it the first time this issue is being raised? So you should know whole election process, procedures, difficulties, advantage, disadvantage. You should prepare yourself. You should read. A lot of social scientists work on that. Political commentaries are available. Examples in the world are available. We are not reinventing wheel in this country. It's not that there are no democracies in the world.
We are the biggest ones.
We have our own problems. But then your answer is, what is that which you think is the most potential one which sustains. Some of them are rudimentary, which are automatic, part of it. So choose that technique. और वो तभी आएगा जो next 15 days में you are very seriously studying in depth. ठीक है? Any other question now? I'll try to say whatever. Remain what you are. Don't bring your father, mother into picture. Don't talk about politics. You are not, nobody is asking you whether you promote Modi ji or Rahul Gandhi ji. This question will never be asked. So don't ever try to do that. Don't talk about your father. What is he? He can be a laborer, he can be a top bureaucrat, doesn't matter. The moment you do that, you are trying to influence the world. Never ever do that. No religion would be discussed with you. We are not here to justify this country. Yes, what is written in preamble, you should know. You should know what secularism in your opinion. But we are not discussing whether Islam is right or Hindu is right or Sikhism characters. There is no commentary on that. We can discuss reformers in this country. We are not talking religious reformers. We remember Vivekananda because he was a Hindu. We believe in, he said something which is a reformer for society. So please don't get into that group at all. From your side, don't. Don't try to bluff ever. One little line will definitely be caught that again issue. In the moment you are established that you are a liar, whatever you might do in factual characters interview, you are nowhere. Most of the candidates come and tell me, sir, last year to मुझे ज़्यादा marks मिले थे. This year, maybe has my personality reduced? There is no correlation. Different points are discussed. You reply differently. Maybe last year you didn't say something else. You said something else. The other thing which people tend to create, that each word is somebody is soft, somebody is hard. There is nothing soft and hard. Let it be absolutely clear to you. So don't carry burden in your head. You are sitting in the hall and you are told you are in board number 1, and somebody had told you last day, if board number 1, he is the chairman, you are finished. Please don't carry this burden. All are same. They are all talking to you. It might happen that some board has started one area which other may not start. But then I have already said, here area is not fixed. The territory is open. You might be a scientist, graduate, you might be a doctor, not a single question on doctor and engineers. They will discuss total psychology, philosophy, sociology, political science. They might simply look at the developmental aspect. They might even go into depth of economics. Nobody stops them. Because one of the papers relate to development in economics of this country. You have done all it. So I thought that's all I wanted to say. If there are questions, queries, you want to ask. And if you have any doubts, so thumb rule, start asking questions, start answering, and ensure that if 5 questions are asked on the same topic, you are answering at the similar level. Your language should be similar. Otherwise, what have you prepared, your language would be very refined. In the next question which you are not prepared related to that, your language would be what you speak normally. And then your impact changes automatically. And this can only happen when you prepare. You do that exercise. If you can question yourself with simple questions, therefore you are not ready. You should go as much in depth of a topic or issue as if you are writing an essay. I started the example of the essay. If you can write a good essay, you can discuss it. And I already said, essay would mean larger domain, discussion would mean shorter. So how do you say the most important thing first, which has a large impact, is the best thing? ऐसे में आप ऐसे ही करते ना, ऐसे में आपको अपॉर्चुनिटी है 10 पेज लिखने की, यहाँ आपके पास अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है, लिमिटेड अपॉर्चुनिटी। You also develop a habit of when should you stop. And this is individual. Nobody can, depending on the question, your answer, it is you have to decide. Don't ask anybody, ask this question to me, say, मैं कितना बोलूँ, 1 मिनट या 2 मिनट, कोई थंब रूल नहीं है इसका. Depending on the question, you have to decide. I can only tell from my personal experience, those who are good, plan, they are very crafty. They will end a question at a point, answer at a point, where they will force the interviewer to ask the question in the same line. Now, it's a technique which need to be developed. वो अब आपके पास समय नहीं है. That you are now ending your sentence at a point where there is anxiety and curiosity in a listener to ask you. अब ये बड़ा मुश्किल होता है, और वो तब पॉसिबल है जब आपको बहुत कुछ आता है. पर आप पॉइंटेड क्वेश्चन तैयार करेंगे तो ये नहीं कर सकते. I am not talking of my background is engineering technology. Wherever I have interacted, 90% I have ensured that I will end up at a point where you are definitely going to ask me the question which I protected myself. It's an art. और किसकी कोई ट्रेनिंग नहीं होती है. आप इतना पढ़ चुके हैं, आपने ऐसे कर लिया, 4 पेपर पढ़ लिए, आपने सब्जेक्ट पढ़ लिया, आपने डिग्री कर ली, इसके अलावा क्या पढ़ रहे हो बच्चा मुझे नहीं पता. आपको लगता है बच्चा पढ़, अब तो प्रैक्टिस ही करनी है. सवाल पूछिए अपने आप से, सर आके बैठ गए किसका सर है. I see on TV every day. I have an opportunity to see on the TV. I am the last one. I never came on TV as decided as chairman of UPSC. And everything is said on UPSC. And chairman never spoke. Because few things are automatic. And I am very surprised people say crack UPSC. Why do you crack UPSC, Baba? Building को क्यों तोड़ना चाहते हो? How can you think of you cracking something? It's not a whip which I crack on you and get you selected. These language misnomers have finished all of us. Your thinking is gone. It has to be original thinking. And original thinking builds on reading, discussing, understanding, which you do. And I think there is a time. 15 days is a good time. Each of you can discuss 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 areas. Know your limitations. Typically, students, some coaching people tell student, you don't know the subject, you know half-baked answer. Say, can I guess you, sir? Somebody told me in an interview, sir, can I guess? You are here to discuss with me. I am not asking you to guess anything. Either you have a view or you have no view. Can you guess a view? If you are seeking my permission, that means you have no judgment of your own. Whether you know it or you don't know it. Whether you think it is correct or wrong. I am not guessing. Why would I say that you should guess? I permit you to guess. आप तो अधिकारी हैं. जैसे कोई साहब आए और आपसे पूछा, मैडम आपने कुछ 2 बातें की और उसने 10 किया, मैडम मैं कुछ गैस कर लूँ, आपको हंसी आएगी. बट बच्चों को इतना कन्फ्यूजन है. क्यों कन्फ्यूजन है भाई? यू आर कमिंग डिसाइसिवली टू प्रूव दैट यू हैव मटेरियल इन यू फॉर फ्यूचर, दैट यू कैन टेक ए डिसीजन. व्हेन यू आस्क समबडीज परमिशन टू गेस, दिस क्लियरली इंडिकेट्स दैट यू हैव नो व्यू ऑफ योर ओन. If it is a fact, either you know a fact or you don't know a fact. The other view can be that you want to give a ballpark figure. आपसे पूछा कि population कितनी है, या what is the population growth? Okay, let me ask you. If I ask you a question, what is the population of this country? There can be one answer. All right? If I ask you a question, what is the population rate growth? Which out of the two you think is more a good question for you? And why?
Specific answer.
There are both specific answers. In one case, I am asking population. Second, I am asking what is the growth rate of population. in the country? And you said second. I also believe second is a good question. But why? Because you have to ask questions yourself. Why do you think it's a good question? I have to now as a bureaucrat to decide my action plan. If I say my population is so many crores, so many lakhs, what I reduce? Should I give a target I reduce by 1 crore? How do I set my targets? Worry to me is that this population should not grow to a point of time where it becomes uncontrollable. So, large number only gives you the peak. But the strategy comes out to control this to a point where I want to settle. Then what allows to grow is the population growth rate. Then further issue would come, is this population growth rate is same in all parts of society? Then next strategy. This second question allows you to look at the strategies for future. If population is an issue with us, if it is a crucial issue with us, then this allows me to look at the solutions to it. Number may not matter. A country, the other measure could be population density, for example. Does it have any meaning, population density? It will have a kind of impact. You can see what population density will be. England population is much lesser than us. But population density is as thick as Uttar Pradesh. It has repercussion. What are the repercussions? That's how you look at the impact of population. Any other questions? Yeah.
Sir, regarding sensitive issues, if the opinion is asked. So,
Like, give an example.
for example, like a derivative issue. So, where if I feel both the sides are like equally correct, so in such cases, how to?
I've already said, you are giving both things and saying your view. I cannot decide my view cannot be your view. If you think you want to judge, ये बोर्ड को बुरा लगेगा, गलत लगेगा, तो आपका व्यू नहीं होता. ये तो टेपर्ड व्यू है ना. आपने करेज भी नहीं करेगा. It has to be. I'm ready to listen to you. What is you think is this angle? What is you think this angle? But at some point of time, you have to take a stand. Jallikattu issue has set a much bigger impact on in this country, which you don't know, which will emerge. We are first time undone, second time in my major impact issue has undone something what Supreme Court has said. The first one was Shaban case. In this case, even we have not gone to Parliament. Impact would be much larger. Incidents will occur. Just wait. They are not emerging yet. It will take time. We know Shaban case ever since, and we know what has happened today. So don't be scared. You are given to and fro. The right part and whatever views are, you put them together and say, this is what you think. You have to take a position. And if you think you are so scared, you say you take no position. After what does a bureaucrat do on a file? And that's why today bureaucrats don't write on file. They are worried कि मंत्री क्या कहेगा, पूछ के आ जाता हूँ फिर लिखूँगा. Then it's not easy. That iron curtain of the civil service is under danger because of this. The question was, does it satisfy you what is said on this? Please. Or do you think you will still have to give an answer which is you think correct to the board? First, you don't know what board want to listen. I cannot say, even if I set a number of boards, that this board will accept this right or wrong. So best course is done is the best thing to decide. The best thing is that you are given all the aspects of it and your own view. Whatever I would say would be my view. So this is one input to you. whatever sir would say was his view, second input to you. Out of these 4, 5, 6 inputs which he given to you, it is your view. Any other question?
Specifically, situation-based questions and in departmental things like they ask if your subordinate is not following your orders, what will do? Then we don't know the technicalities or departmental steps. So
What is the common sense answer? What is the common sense answer? Firstly, it should not be common sense to you, let's sit down. Because in these 4 papers, a lot of governance issues covered. So you can't say you don't know the governance in administration. And you want to come by choice to administration. You are coming to cycler governance. Now, you have been told what are leadership issues. You are prepared now? What are the leadership issues? The question you asked will relate to you being a leader, others are either follower or your subordinates. In bureaucracy, in administration, it's a senior versus superior versus subordinate relationship. Now, there are different solutions of it. But depending on the insubordination, there are methods. And if you know the common sense answer, that can work. Why it is not, does not work any time? You will say all kinds of things, man. I'll say what typically students say. They would say, I'll talk to him. Typically a question was asked, at that time number of CRPF people killed each other. अभी कभी कोई incidences आ जाते हैं that this man has killed his gun या suicide किया. So I think somebody had asked, this is somebody who police this question. Why do you think that this situation will occur? And what would you do to avoid this kind of situation? It's precisely the same. So you should know what is the relationship. Then he followed this question and he came to a conclusion and asked. He said he has come to know that this man is going to commit suicide. He is a subordinate working under him. This is a uniform service. It was not for IAS. That it has come to his notice that he is likely to commit suicide. What actions would you take? What is the common sense answer? So common sense is unless he has done by choice insubordination, and for there is a method. यहाँ तक कोई method नहीं है. यहाँ तो leadership के examples हैं. You might talk to him. You might look at what are the conditions which he has. You might talk to his immediate superior. If you are his immediate superior, you would recall why situations occurred like this. Maybe he has ever talked to you about the family. So that all comes through your understanding of the issue. We are not asking you at that time what is the rule number 1 of the penal code. I am not asking you this. I am also not asking you that what is the procedure of inquiry, which currently it should not be difficult because every day media is charging you and also doing the case listening same day. Newspaper write lot of things. But we don't ask that. We don't believe that you should know that. Because there is a time we'll train you for it. But you should know how to handle situations. Okay? Like the question, the 4th paper deals with situations. You see groups fighting, a lot of bloods are there. What are reactions immediate? है ना? Ethical dimensions के जो issues हैं, तो इसमें कुछ इसका कुछ solution क्या है बताइए? More you have lived with it, more you have understood it, more you have tried to see, read what people have done in this time. The options are there. And out of these options, you would choose some. इनका कोई one तरह का solution नहीं है. It's not 2 into 2 become 4. These are the situational where a leadership issue comes. District collector is a leader. झगड़ा होगा, एक सोल्यूशन होगा, किसी ने इनसबऑर्डिनेशन किया, एक सोल्यूशन होगा. So 30 odd situations come. So what is that quality in you? For example, typically somebody asks, have you ever beaten a student, your fellow friend? आपको लगेगा बड़ा अजीब सा सवाल है. Have you ever beaten a fellow friend? Can you tell me what was the motive of asking such a question? When can you beat a person?
One gets
When would you
angry.
beat a person?
When one gets angry. When one gets angry.
One, that you get angry. But why do you get angry?
Which is not as expected.
Is expected. What else?
To punish.
To punish. Why do you punish?
Because
Who has given you right to punish? He's your friend. Nobody has given you right to punish. Because you thought that you are correct and something which he is doing does not fit into your thinking and therefore you have a chance. जो आजकल हो रहा है बहुत सारी जगह. Some people are taking law in their own hands and punishing people. So what would it indicate? That means if you have beaten a person, you are not a logical person, reasonable. You work on high emotions. You are very emotional. You think you are a righteous person. It's your right. You believe in power. Your person is fixed. I don't know whether beating is important or not important. I am not discussing this issue. But you remember, a class teacher who used to beat earlier, just to say that if you don't do this, I punish you. So it is to inculcate hard work in you. A device was done that I beat you. Okay? The other impact is that the moment you beat him, you demotivate him so much that he does not do even that. So look at this. But this is only done when you know things. Any other question? Okay friends, thank you very much.